Hi guys, this is Sean from Happy Homes Property. Today we'll be doing an in-depth comparison of two developments that are just side by side. Pinetree Hill, which was launched last year, and Nava Grove, which is launching very soon in November. I've mentioned previously in another video that this is one of the areas I'm seriously looking at for my own purchase because it's nearer to where my family is. So I'm very keen to find out whether I should be putting my money in either of these developments. As per my previous reviews, I'll be using the IPA framework to guide me in my decision making. Follow me on this journey to find out.
In case you are not familiar, I use my IPA framework to guide my clients in evaluating a development holistically based on these 5 factors. Number 1, location and amenities. Number 2, facilities and quality. Number 3, demand versus supply in the area. Number 4, pricing versus surrounding developments. And finally, layout. And an overall score will be given at the end. Feel free to check out my previous video at the top right hand corner to see how I use the IPA framework to evaluate a project like 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗲𝗲. By the way, I've also compiled a list of all the balanced new launch inventory with their respective price range. If you would like to have a copy of the PDF, just click on the link in the description below and I'll be happy to send it across.
Alright, first up, let's evaluate the location of both developments. Let's be honest, the location is, as per the road name suggests, we are literally at 𝗰𝗵𝗶𝗲𝗲. When I first told my friends this is an area I'm looking at, they have no idea where I'm talking about. The nearest MRT is Dover Station, which is about 17 minutes walk away, and there's no supermarkets or coffee shops in the immediate vicinity. So why did I consider this location in the first place? Well, that's because I always like the 𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗲𝗃 area, but of course properties there are a lot more pricey. Clementi area will be much more convenient, but people who live in the west will know that Clementi is one of the most densely populated towns, which I do not prefer. So the 𝗰𝗵𝗶𝗲𝗃 Pine Grove area is actually a sweet spot for me, whereby it's only about 6 minutes drive or 6 bus stops away to either Holland Village or Clementi, where I can get all the daily necessary amenities that I need. At the same time, I get to enjoy a very low density and peaceful environment that is near greenery and within close proximity to the upclass Mount Sinai neighborhood.
In terms of zoning, Pinetree Hill and Nava Grove are right at the edge of the rest of Central Region, and the core Central Region is literally one street away starting from the Tri-Zone onwards. Having said that, we still need to establish whether a development can enjoy strong capital growth if it is not near the MRT. A good case study would be to compare Principal Gardens' performance, which is about 15 minutes walk to Redhill MRT, versus Alex Residences and 𝗃𝗏𝗯, which are much closer to the MRT station. These developments are only 1 year apart from each other, so they form a good basis for comparison. And you'll be surprised to find out that Principal Garden actually outperformed the other two developments in terms of sales volume, rental yield, and annualized capital gain, even though it is the furthest away from the MRT. And I'll probably attribute this to the large landscaping, huge open spaces, and well-rounded facilities that Principal Garden has over its neighbours. I'll explain more in the next factor on facilities and quality as to how Pinetree Hill and Nava Grove are very similar to Principal Garden in that regard. But at least now we know that being near the MRT is not a compulsory ingredient for future capital appreciation if there are other more compelling factors to push prices up. On balance, I'll give a scoring of 6.5 for location and amenities. So I was sharing earlier that Principal Garden did well because of its large landscaping and huge open spaces within the development. You can clearly see that Principal Garden has the lowest density versus its neighbours, that is, each unit gets to enjoy the most common space. Now, this is very similar to Nava Grove and Pinetree Hill with even lower density versus Principal Garden and versus other nearby developments in the Clementi and One North locale. Why this is important when it comes to the resale market is because it helps to give a very good first impression to prospective buyers, especially buyers looking for own stay who are more particular on the overall look and feel of the development. If I zoom in to the site plan of Pinetree Hill, you can see at first glance that over 80% of the land is dedicated to greenery and a full range of facilities including a 50-meter lap pool, multiple function rooms, a tennis court, and even a half basketball court. There's also very good distance of over 80 meters between block 30 and 32 to ensure that most units get to enjoy an open view with privacy. In addition, UOL is a developer with strong track record which happened to have developed the award-winning Principal Garden as well. Overall, I'll rate Pinetree Hill at 7.5 out of 10 for facilities and quality. Coming to Nava Grove, it will be good to first understand the origins of the development's name. The word Nava is chosen for its association with newness, freshness, and beauty, while the term grove pays homage to the area's history. The property will feature large landscapes, naturalistic pools, and a range of wellness-inspired amenities. It is conceptualized as a sanctuary with ample space for families to flourish together. The developer is MCR Land, which has a strong portfolio in Singapore with developments such as Leedon Green, Park Esta, and Margaret View that are all known to have quality finishings. Here is the site plan for reference. Sorry for the poor image quality as it is still a draft plan. Now, one thing that makes Nava Grove stands out versus Pinetree Hill is the side gate they have over here. It is not just any side gate because it provides a direct linkage to the upper level of the overhead bridge. This means that from the side gate, residents can be fully sheltered to the bus stop going to Clementi MRT and to the bus stop going to Holland Village. There's no need to cross any traffic light junction, which can be a peace of mind for parents with kids making their own way home from school. For Pinetree Hill, residents will have to walk a short distance from the side gate along the pavement over here. Notice that it is unsheltered and make a left turn to the bus stop, which will bring you to Clementi, or to cross the road over here to bring you towards Holland. I feel that this can be quite a significant factor for the daily commute, especially if you do not plan to drive. Because of that, I'll probably rate Nava Grove higher at 8.5. Coming to demand versus supply, this will be more of a quantitative analysis. Just a quick recap for the people who are seeing this for the first time. In my attempt to quantify demand, I took transaction volume in the last 1 year divided by the number of listings that are currently on sale, which I term it as the demand ratio. Basically, a high demand ratio will suggest that there is strong demand in the area because there are more units that have already been transacted recently compared to the number of units that are currently still available in the market. With that in mind, let's take a look at how the demand looks like for the 𝗃𝗵𝗱𝗲. So I've tabulated the demand ratio of existing developments in the area, and the numbers actually look pretty good. The overall demand ratio that we got is a very strong at 144%, which translates to a max score of 5 points according to the scale I have developed. This goes to show that there is certain organic demand in the area, as even very old developments like Astor Green and Cavendish Park, which are already 33 years into the lease, are still seeing decent take-up rate. For the bigger unit types, we will likely also see strong HDB upgrader demand coming from 3,000 new BTO flats that are slated to be built across 3 projects right next to Dover MRT. In addition, there are huge plots of land coming up where the Clementi and Maju forests are currently located at. This will mean even more HDB upgraders or future private properties, which will likely be priced higher. Another strong source of demand will be for parents looking to enroll their kids in Henry Park Primary School. And this is where Pinetree Hill will stand out slightly because the entire development is within the 1 kilometer radius, whereas Nava Grove might have one block that falls outside of the 1 km radius, but this is to be confirmed. Coming to the supply side, likewise in my attempt to quantify supply, I used the number of listings that are currently on sale divided by the total number of units in the development, which I term as the supply ratio. In this case, the lower the supply ratio, the better, as it will indicate that there's very little competition in the market. Similarly, we got very favorable results for the 𝗃𝗵𝗱𝗲. This is not surprising because we last saw a new development in Mount Sinai 14 years ago, so there's not too many options in the market. By the way, I've also done the same demand and supply ratio analysis of the 𝗃𝗵𝗱𝗲, and the numbers does not look as attractive, to be honest, which lowers the overall score, but there is a good reason for that. On balance, I'll give a score of 7.5 for demand versus supply. As the video is getting too long, I wouldn't be able to cover everything. If you'd like to learn more about the analysis for the 𝗃𝗵𝗱𝗲 and other unit types, feel free to reach out to me on WhatsApp at 94515625, and I'll be happy to explain further. Next up, let's first compare Pinetree Hill's pricing with its surrounding neighbours. At first glance, being a 99-year leasehold development, Pinetree Hill's average pricing of 24XX PSF does not make sense given that its surrounding freehold and 999-year neighbours like Ridgewood, the Trizon, and the Marbella are all at a lower PSF range. But we have to first recognise that these developments are much older. Trizon is the next newest development, and it is already 15 years older than Pinetree Hill. Secondly, because the older developments have a much bigger floor area, so the overall price quantum is about 400k on average higher versus Pinetree Hill for the 2-bedders and a very significant 900k on average for the 3-bedders. On the other hand, Pine Grove, Astor Green and Cavendish Park have lower price quantum, but these are very old leasehold developments with at least 33 years into the lease. So imagine this. 10 years from now, you are trying to buy a 3-bedroom condo in this area because you hope to enroll your kid in Henry Park Primary School. If you're on a budget, you can go for the very old leasehold condos like Astor Green and Cavendish Park. But by then, they will be 43 years into the lease. The compound will likely be in quite a bad shape. If you have the money, you can pay a very high premium for a freehold condo like the Trizon and the Marbella, but prices will likely be in the 4 million plus range. Or would you rather pay 3 million for something newer like Pinetree Hill and Nava Grove and not as daunting in terms of the overall price quantum? If your answer is yes, then we can already foresee a clear exit strategy to future buyers looking for a sweet spot between price and age of the development. Next, let's compare the pricing of Pinetree Hill versus Nava Grove. MCL Land managed to secure the land for Nava Grove at 1223 PSF per plot ratio, which is 7.2% lower than Pinetree Hill's land bid price of 1318 PSF per plot ratio. However, because Nava Grove was secured after the new GFA harmonization rules, the developer is now unable to sell the aircon latch space as part of the strata floor area. As a result, we do expect the developer to factor this in their eventual launch price, and hence I'm estimating Nava Grove to launch at around 2500 PSF versus Pinetree Hill's average pricing of about 2450 PSF. Let's see how this will affect the pricing for the various unit types. For the 2-bedroom, 2 premium and 3 premium units, you can expect Nava Grove's price quantum to be significantly lower than Pinetree Hill because of the more efficient floor area after eliminating the aircon latch space. For the 2+ study, 3 premium and 5 premium units, we would expect roughly the same price point between both projects. For the 4-bedroom and 4 premium units, most likely Nava Grove's pricing will be higher, mainly because of the bigger floor area and higher PSF. Overall, for majority of the units, I believe Nava Grove's pricing should come in similar or slightly more attractive versus Pinetree Hill. However, I do recognize that both projects have higher PSF versus their surrounding freehold neighbours. On balance, I'll give a score of 7 for Pinetree Hill and 7.5 for Nava Grove. By the way, I hope you can see the amount of work and effort put into the research, so I would really appreciate if you can help me by clicking on the like button and subscribing to my channel. It will really motivate me to continue doing more of such videos. And of course, if you're looking to buy a property and think we are a good fit, feel free to contact me on WhatsApp. Alright, back to the video. Finally, coming to layout. Let's zoom in on a couple of the floor plans that we already have on hand. For the 2+ study, their floor plans look extremely similar to each other. Pinetree Hill's floor area stands at 797 square feet, but if I exclude the aircon latch area for better comparison, it will be around 757 square feet instead, while Nava Grove's floor area stands at 786 square feet. Both have an efficient dumbbell layout, which eliminates the need for corridor space. Both have a kitchen that is tucked at one corner, which is good, but Nava Grove's kitchen is smaller. Nava Grove also has a longer walkway area, which is not as efficient. On the other hand, Nava Grove has a study area that is easier to enclose with direct access to the common bathroom. So if you are looking to rent this out as a mini 3rd bedroom, it's also possible. Lastly, it's hard to tell, but I feel that Nava Grove's bedrooms are slightly bigger than Pinetree Hill. It's pretty neck and neck, but I'll probably say Pinetree Hill has a slightly more efficient 2+ study layout. Finally, let's take a look at the 5-bedroom premium layouts in both developments. This is the epitome of luxury living. This is like having a landed property in the air. Well, not quite, but you get what I mean. Pinetree Hill's floor area stands at 1733 square feet, but again, if I exclude the aircon latch area, it will be around 1646 square feet instead. Of course, there's a private lift followed by the entrance foyer, but the thing that really caught my eye is how spacious and squarish the kitchen is. You can even fit an island in the middle of the kitchen. Such a design is pretty rare and not something you usually get in other developments. I like it that the kitchen flows seamlessly into the living and dining area, which is perfect for hosting of guests in your house. The rest of the house is pretty straightforward with a junior master and 3 common bedrooms. Finally, you get a nice walk-in wardrobe and even a bathtub in the master ensuite. Coming to Nava Grove's 5-bedroom premium unit, which stands at 1722 square feet, so it's slightly bigger than Pinetree Hill's layout if we exclude the aircon ledge space. Likewise, you enter from the private lift, but now instead of one big squarish kitchen, you get a dry kitchen area that is next to the dining space, as well as a separate wet kitchen area. This is good if you do lots of cooking at home and you want to have proper segregation. The unit also comes with a dishwasher and a built-in water purifier and dispenser, which are not provided for at Pinetree Hill. Because of this design, you will get a super grand living area that is more than twice the size of the living space at Pinetree Hill. One last thing to highlight is that all bedrooms are directly connected to the bathroom, which is great for accessibility, especially if you have old folks at home. Even though I really like Pinetree Hill's one-of-a-kind kitchen, but I feel Nava Grove's 5-bedroom layout is probably more practical. Overall, both developments have very decent 2+ study and 5-bedroom layouts, so I'm going to give a score of 8 out of 10 for both. In the interest of time, I'm only able to review these 2 layouts right now, but if you'd like to have full access to all the floor plans and also my views of the remaining unit types, feel free to contact me on WhatsApp at 94515625 and I'll be happy to elaborate further. Alright, if you've been following the video, you would be able to understand that even though Pinetree Hill and Nava Grove don't have the best location, but they score decently well in every other aspect. With strong organic demand and lack of supply in the area, coupled with a price quantum that is in the sweet spot versus the neighbouring developments, I'm confident both developments will still be able to enjoy strong growth. Between Pinetree Hill and Nava Grove, it's really tight, but I feel Nava Grove might just be able to stand out slightly due to its lower density, greater convenience from its side gate with direct access to the overhead bridge, and hopefully lower price point. Hence, my overall score for Pinetree Hill and Nava Grove will be 7.3 and 7.6 respectively. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my evaluation. And with that, thank you so much for staying to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our Happy Homes Property YouTube channel for the latest content. If you're looking at a few other developments and would like me to evaluate as well, feel free to contact me at 94515625 or click on the link in the description below and I'll be happy to evaluate further. Once again, I'm Sean and I'll see you soon.